We are live answering your tennis questions. Cannot wait for this live stream. Let me move my tripod back here a little bit. So, I'm going to be answering your questions. Also, check the description under this video or this live stream because I just made a coupon code that you can use to get 50% off a stroke analysis with me. So if you want me to analyze your serve, your forehand, your backhand, any stroke that you'd like me to analyze for you, you can use the discount code that is in the description right now, but hurry, it can only be used 5 times. The discount code is analysis884. So we'll see if we even run through them. Thanks so much for hitting the like button as we go here. So let's do a couple tips, and this will kind of get the juices flowing, and everyone's going to be asking questions. So write your question. Thank you. We got 5 people here, and we only got 1 like. We got 11 people here, and we only got 1 like. Oh, that hurts my heart. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about why you might be struggling to have success at the net. This is doubles or singles. So let's just discuss this from a single standpoint. There are 2 main reasons that I've noticed players struggle to go to the net and have success. Number 1, when you're hitting an approach shot and you're going forward, let me grab a racket here. Please have a spectacular ready position. When you come forward, please have an amazing ready position. I see people all the time because they send me matches, right? I become friends with them on Swing Vision, and they send me links of their matches, and I sit down live on Zoom with them. That's my business. I sit down with people live on Zoom and I analyze their game, whether it's technique, whether they want me to look at their matches and analyze their match play and their footwork and their stroke production. I'm sorry, their shot selection, court positioning, all that. And I see so many players struggling going to the net. Like, they're fine in doubles if they just start at the net. If they just start at the net, everything's fine. But it's this transition going forward where players really struggle. And the first reason is because players don't have a ready position. Look, it's not called a starting position. It's not called a waiting position. What is it called? It's called a ready position. So that means if you don't have a ready position, it means you're not ready. And so I see players coming in like this. I see players with their arms down here coming to the net. Please have a great ready position. So what does that look like? When you're coming forward, singles, doubles, it doesn't matter. First off, get your elbows out away from you. And thank you so much for being here. We got 18 people. Oh, how to hit a jumping backhand. We'll talk about that. We got 22 people here and only 3 likes. Oh, that hurts my heart. If I've ever given you any value, it's so simple. It takes a half a second. Hit that like button. Thank you so much. We'll get more people in here. But when you come forward, please have a great ready position. So go out and take your lessons with your pros. Say, hey, I want to work on coming to the net, not just at the net. I want to work on being at the baseline and coming forward to the net. I want you to do so by hitting your approach shot and having an amazing ready position. You'll notice that my elbows are out. What I mean by that is if I take 2 tennis balls and I put them under my armpits, I'm going to flare my elbows. Watch, I'm going to flare my elbows until the balls fall out. That's what you want when you come forward. When your elbows are away from the body, it gives you a short swing. It's when your elbow collapses in that your racket's open. So if anyone's ever told you, oh, your backswing is too big on your volley, it could be that your elbow is pinned in and jammed into your body. So if you just push the elbow out, look what that does to the racket. The racket, all of a sudden, when you turn, is like a wall, whether it's on a forehand or a backhand volley. So get your elbows out away from you in your ready position. That way you can have that elbow up on the volley. But here's the real key. This is what I'm seeing. And thanks for the likes. I just saw some people hit the like button, so thank you so much. When you come forward to the net, it is critical that you are split stepping as the opponent hits their shot. I can tell you this. There is one time, by the way, do you like my son's Lego creation? He created this Lego. It's like the 100,000 play button. He created that Lego for me, and he's like, Dad, can you put that in your videos? I said, sure. And then he made this logo for me out of these like beads that you get like wet and they stick together. It's just so funny. So you can say good job, Mikey, in the comment section, and he'll get all excited because he'll see it. But when you come forward, you have to split step after your approach shot. I would actually tell you this is the number one most important time to split step. Oh, thanks so much, Evan. Thank you so much. This is the most important time to split step. It's off of your approach shot. I would tell you, hey, what's up, Igor? What's going on? Thanks so much for being here. When you come forward and you don't split step, it's why you're getting passed. It's why you're just running to the net and getting a ball over your head. It's why when you come forward, oops, man down. It's why when you come forward, the ball comes to your feet and you're really struggling. If I could just like wave a magic wand, thanks. So he'll see that. So thanks so much. I'll show him that. So thanks for saying good job, Mikey. My son is the one who made those Lego little things of my logo. So that's pretty cool. So when you're coming forward and you don't split step, absolutely the most detrimental time to not split step. If you don't split step when you're behind the baseline during a rally, sure, it's going to hurt you. If you're at the net, completely established at the net, and you don't split step, absolutely, it's going to hurt you. But I can tell you this, you're coming to the net and you don't split step, completely detrimental to your ability to change direction and adjust to the ball. Hi, Coach Ryan. Hope you are well. How can I handle pace better? Heavy backhand here is footwork or anticipation. Let me give you a tip on that. All right. Let me give you a tip on that. By the way, I just made a discount code that you can all use. If you want me to analyze your serve, your forehand, your backhand, any stroke, right now you can go into the description and you can grab a discount code, analysis844, and you can use that code to get a half price analysis. So you want me to analyze your serve and make you like a half an hour video comparing you side by side to the pros, showing you a list of the things you do correctly, and then a list of the things that you need to improve, and then show you video footage backing what I'm teaching you step by step with the drills that I want you to do. They are the most amazing lessons you will ever take, even including on-court lessons. Go into the description, get the discount code, click the link that is in the description, and go over to my website and purchase an analysis. That coupon code can only be used 5 times. I can promise you it is going to be used 5 times before you do use it. Does that make sense? If you wait, all right? If you wait. So here's, somebody just asked about how can I handle pace better? Get your elbows out. All right, so let's talk about returning serve. When you're returning serve, you want your elbows out. By the way, notice you can see little space. See like those triangles or whatever? I don't know what shape it is. I can barely see myself on my phone. But see how my elbows are out? See, when your elbows are in, it produces big swings. I just explained it on the volleys, and I am explaining it now on the ground strokes. If you're having difficulty with the pace from your opponents, sure, you can stand farther back. Right? You can stand farther back away from your opponents, which is a perfectly reasonable thing to do. And you see Medvedev do it all the time when he's returning serve against really fast servers. But you can also alter your technique a bit and get your elbows out. Because when your elbows are out and you turn, your strings are forward and you can handle pace. Watch what happens to my racket if I drop my elbow. I should not have worn a black sweatshirt. It's hard for you to see my arms here. But look how my elbow drops in, and now my strings are facing you. So when you're returning serve, elbows out. I always tell my students, I should be able to smell your armpits, right? So I'm serving to them, and they need to be like this. And if they're like this, I don't even serve. I'm like, nope, I'm not serving. Get your elbows out. Oh, okay, get your elbows out. I'm like, I should be able to smell your armpits. Come on, they should stink. You're working hard out here. I should know it. And your elbows are out. When your elbows are out on both the backhand and the forehand, that's going to allow you to handle pace, because when you turn, you don't get these big giant swings that make you late. Elbow out technique, that's complete Vic Bradenism, is going to help you to handle the pace in a way that you're looking for. All right, let's see. I think we had some questions here. That's a good idea. You got it. I just don't want to rely on slice too much and get pressured. Yeah. So Jacko, are you a one-hander or two-hander? By the way, if you like this type of format, great work with the logos. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for saying that to my son. That's you're a one-handed backhand. There's my son's logo that I made. Um, that was pretty cool. I'll show you. I'll show you my play button. I'll show you my play button. And my wife got me a Sampras. Here's the play button. All right, there's you guys right on my phone. But there's my wife's Pete Sampras autograph picture she got me for my for I think that was for Christmas last year. And there's my play button. Yep. So we're closing in on 215,000 subscribers now, which is super exciting. So thanks so much for the support because subscribers, thanks, Jacko. Subscribers only mean that people like watching your stuff, right? So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's see what other questions we got. If you like me going live, by the way, did you know I go live on Instagram every day around 3:30 New York City time, which is Eastern Standard Time, because I live near Philadelphia. And I go live. I'm in my car picking up Mikey, who made the logo, the Lego logo, just there. So I go live for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's super, super fun. So if you guys like me answering your questions, let's see what else we got here. Short take back might help. Don't break the plane. Yeah, and see, Igor's 100% right, but that's usually something that people know. Like people know, oh, don't break the plane. And if you just look at this line, this is what we mean by plane, is this line going through me. And here I'm on the hitting side of the body, and here my racket's going over to the non-hitting side. But how do you actually do that? Because it's easier said than done. So getting your elbows out is the way you do that, keeping your elbows out. One thing you can look at is when you turn for a forehand, is your elbow pointing down like this? Is your elbow pointing down? Or when you turn, is your elbow pointing back? We want the elbow pointing back, and your swing will always be smaller. All right, I think I just saw a question here. What is the best strategy when you get a shot that you have to come in, but you can't do much with your shot? Like forced forward, but they have time to think about their shot. All right, Rick, let me completely understand what you're saying. What is the best strategy when you get a shot that you have to come in on, but you can't do much with your shot back? Okay, so here's one thing you do have to think about. Let's say, and this works, Rick, when you are coming to the net or when you're like at the net. All right. So one thing you have to keep track of. Let's discuss this from a single standpoint. Unless, Rick, you're talking about doubles. Rick, are you talking about? Oh, thanks, Gustavo. Thanks so much. So a short shot, you have to run up, but you can't do much with your return. Yeah, Rick, are you thinking doubles or singles? Because the answer to the okay, singles, awesome. Okay, great. Because in doubles, it's actually the complete opposite of what I'm about to say. All right, so here we go. You're in the back. Let's say they hit a drop shot or they hit a short ball or they tip the ball off the net and you're running forward and you're kind of struggling to get to that ball. All right, first, what you have to do is if you're on the side, if it's pulling you over here, do not hit cross court. Because if you get pulled over to the sideline and you hit cross court, you're now moving the opponent to the side of the court you are not on. And that causes big time problems because we are not Usain Bolt. We're not a Ferrari, right? It takes us time to go to a ball and then change direction. When we get to the net, we need to be on the same side of the court as our opponent to bisect their down the line and cross court pass. So we have to bisect that by being on the same side of the court ever so slightly. At the baseline, we want to be on the opposite sides of the court. That's why when you see singles players, they're always like this. They're always on opposite sides of the court. But when you're at the net, you need to be on the same side. It's all about bisecting where your opponent can hit. So if you're on the sideline or near a sideline and you hit the ball cross court, it's going to take you a little while to get back over. And what you've done is you've hit the ball which away from you, which means you've brought your opponent or you pushed your opponent away from you. And now it's going to take you a really long time to get over, and they'll easily pass you down the line. So what I would recommend is you hit the ball down the line. And the reason, whether it's in like slightly on one side or slightly on the other, if you hit the ball down the line, then what you're doing is you are bringing the opponent to you. So as you come forward, your opponent is coming to the side you're on, and now it's a shorter distance to bisect where they can hit the ball. When you come forward, Rick, in singles, you only want to hit cross court if you can really hurt your opponent. Otherwise, you need to hit the ball down the line. Damn, down the line is risky. It is not risky at all. First off, and everyone says that, but I'm going to completely disagree. First off, the net is this much higher. If you're that precise that this much higher makes a difference, then hitting down the line isn't risky at all. And you don't need more topspin. You don't need more topspin. You just need to hit it a little bit slower, right? We're not playing a pro tennis player. We don't have to put our opponent on this pedestal that we have to be so, the distance is shorter. I know. I understand. I understand, Igor. But we're not making the ball land on the baseline. Look, Rick is not a pro tennis player. All right. So I'm just trying to get his opponent to be on his side of the court. You know what I mean? Okay. So here's what you do then, Rick, to answer that question. So trust me on this. When you get pulled, like, look, Igor, cross court or down the line, yeah, you might make it. Yeah. But I'm not telling him to hit a winner. All I'm telling him is to run forward and just hit it straight ahead. Right? Good. Thank you, Igor. All I'm telling him is just to hit it straight ahead. You have to understand something. From the service line to the baseline is 60 feet. If Rick cannot hit a ball in 60 feet and he has to hit cross court with 62 and a half feet, if that's the difference, then Rick is so precise that he wouldn't even be asking this question anyway, right? So there's a reason he's asking this question. He needs help in the scenario. Now, here's what happens, Rick. The reason we get lobbed is because we get too tight to the net, right? So here's what we have to understand. And Rick, I'm going to ask you this question. So go ahead and feel free to answer it. What shot would you like to hit off of your opponent's lob? What type of shot would you like to hit? Right? So let's say you could look into your crystal ball and you see that your opponent is about to lob. In your mind, what shot would you like to hit off of their lob? I'd love to hear what Rick's answer is. Let's see if he has an idea. How to deal with serve and volley in singles and doubles? Yeah. Brandon, are you talking about like how to deal with it when somebody's doing it to you? Yeah, I'd be happy to answer. Or how to serve and volley. Is that what you're asking? All right. So here's the answer to the question that I just asked Rick. If you are expecting a lob back, then you go forward, you hit, and then you move backward about 2 or 3 feet behind the service line. The lobs I tend to get when I pulled in are pretty nice and deep. So I'm basically just running back to over the shoulder lob. Yeah. So as soon as you hit this ball, if they're the type who lobs, then you just stop and you move backward just behind the service line. And then when they lob, you can move back 1 or 2 steps and then you've got an overhead. So you don't want to rush the net just to lose at a faster rate. And that's what people say. They're like, well, I don't like going to the net because my opponent just lobs. I'm like, well, if you stay back behind the baseline, you're not going to win. Wouldn't you rather hit overheads off of if you know they're going to lob when you come in, then come in a way that allows you to hit an overhead off of their lob. Like, don't get them to stop lobbing. You want them to lob, and then you got an overhead. You just got to get good at it, right? Like, tennis is hard, right? That's why I teach tennis and don't play tennis. Tennis is difficult, right? I don't have a $300 million clothing contract like Federer. So when you hit this shot and you think your opponent's going to lob, you might be around the service line, hit the shot down the line, bring them to you, and then just hang back behind the service line. You could be on the service line, but if you have players who hit really great lobs, maybe a meter behind the service line, and then no one's going to be able to lob over you if you're standing a meter behind the service line. There's no room to get over you because you can take a step or two back. All right. I think Brandon was talking about serve and volley. When opponents serve and volley. Yeah, so look, it's pretty simple. When you are dealing with a serve and volleyer, here's your opponent. this is you. Your opponent serves, and they're coming in. You have one goal, and that is to hit the ball low over the net. That's it. You have to be able to skim the net. So, Brandon, let me ask you a question. Here's your question. When your opponent is serving and volleying, do you have an air target in your mind where you're trying to skim the ball very low over the net? Do you have an air target? I would love to know. Because every single time you hit the ball, you should know exactly how high over the net you're trying to hit. Every single time you hit the ball, you should know exactly how high you're aiming over the net. It's really the key to consistency. The key to consistency is the height over the net, the air target, as it's called. And so when your opponent's coming in, you're not trying to pass them. You're using what is called the two-shot passing shot strategy, the two-shot passing shot strategy. The first shot, you're just skimming the net or aiming low, and then giving them a half volley or low volley. Half the time they screw it up. The other half, the ball pops up, usually short. Now you can step inside the baseline, and then you can go for the pass on the second shot. Your main goal is simply to get your ball to land around the service line, and you do that by aiming very low over the net. Yeah, it depends. It shouldn't depend. It should be every single time. When is the best time to hit a forehand that finishes on the same side of the body, the one that generates more topspin? Yeah, so anytime you're moving backward, moving to the side, or dealing with a low ball, those are all times that you can do more of a buggy whip forehand. So keep it slow even means no pace on the returns. No, you don't have to hit it slowly. You just have to hit low. That's it. Like when we play tennis, our opponents give us difficult situations. So we have to be able to live up to those difficult situations and hit low over the net. So those are simple things you've got to practice. When it comes to somebody staying back, right? Serving a first serve returns against someone who stays back, we're looking to hit deep down the middle. When they're serving and volleying, the main focus is just keep it low over the net. We want them to hit their first volley from below net level and hit the ball up. Ryan, what is your best shot? My two-handed backhand. Let's see. First question asks how to hit a jumping backhand. All right, let's talk about a jumping backhand. First off, I don't make videos on this topic because the last thing that anyone ever needs to learn is a jumping backhand, but let's talk about it. The first thing you got to do is realize that you're hitting a jumping backhand, I think you said a one-hander, right? One-handed jumping backhand like Chapo. You're doing this because the ball is high. So you're doing this, right? And hitting the ball like that. It's going to be a high ball. Let me use my son's racket for when he was a little kid. That way I hit the ceiling less. So when you have, wait, is somebody saying two-hander? Wait. Oh, Evan, you're talking about a two-hander. Is that what you're talking about? My fault. 100. I'm sorry. I thought you meant a one-hander. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. It's the exact same thing when it comes to what I'm talking about here at the beginning. Is it's going to be a higher ball. So you need to turn higher. If you're going to hit a jumping backhand, you need to turn higher in prep. Like don't turn low the way you normally would. You've got to turn high because the ball's going to be high. And if you turn too low, you're going to get too much brush because the swing is going to be too steep. So you need to have a higher set of the racket so you can go more straight in. Next, you're going to jump off your front leg. Let me tilt the camera down a little bit. You're going to jump off your front leg. You're going to jump, and as you hit, you kick with this foot. And then you don't even have to go over the shoulder. You can just extend out. So it looks like this. You set the racket high, jump off your front foot, and kick. Because every action has an equal and opposite, and your foot kicks back, no different than an ice hockey slap shot or when you go bowling and the foot goes behind you. Great advice to set up higher because I drive it into the net. Which foot you land on? The same foot. The same, right? Yep. Man, I wish I could be in my socks at work right now. Yeah. This is my job. I worked at a tennis club outside Philadelphia. You can check it out. Doylestown Tennis Club. Look it up. Doylestown. Doylestown. Doylestown Tennis Club. I worked there for 24 years and I left in the summer of 2021 because YouTube blew up and my online business blew up. And I got to no longer be on other people's schedule. I got to be on my own schedule. So the moment I got off the tennis court, my income tripled. And now I just do online analysis, online YouTube, match play analysis, stroke analysis, footwork analysis. If you want me to analyze, love my Proton, awesome. I just used it for a YouTube video. It's actually in my car. I just used it for a YouTube video yesterday. So thanks so much. Guys, if you, by the way, you might have checked in the description. I made a coupon code right before I went live. The stroke analysis is $100, but it's $50 if you use the coupon code that is in the description. Keep it in your trunk, yeah. But the coupon code can only be used 5 times, right? So like 5 of you are going to be able to use the coupon code, and then that's it. The coupon code to get a $50 analysis with me, where I make like a 30-minute video, putting you side by side with the pros. It will be the most impressive and helpful lesson you will ever take. Money back guaranteed. It's normally $100. All you have to do is send me video footage of your serve or your forehand, your backhand. It's 1 stroke. You send me video footage from the side view and the back view. I then sit down in my basement here. I sit down. I write notes on what you need to work on. It's awesome. It is absolutely the most impressive and incredible and helpful lesson you will ever take. You know me. You know me. You like me. You trust me. You know that what I do is not half. You know, there was a word I was about to say. In his socks. That's right. Yeah. It's so funny. Somebody actually, Rick, said, I can't believe I'm actually learning from someone in socks. I'm like, wait, does that actually matter? I'm like, you realize half the time when people send you a message, they're on the toilet. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, what are we talking about? So my words don't have any truth because I'm wearing socks. Maybe I should put like shoes on in my basement here and then you'll listen to me. So ridiculous. But just use, I know, right? Like, look, do it in a bikini. You don't want to see that, Rick. But I can tell you this, if someone sends you a text message or they reply to something or they send you an email, we all know where they did it from. Trust me. So if you want me to analyze your serve or your forehand or your backhand, I made the coupon code. It can only be used 5 times. Check the description. And I put the link in there too. Just click the link, use the coupon code analysis884. I think that's what it is. Hold on. I may have just completely lied to you. Well, not on purpose. Let me see the coupon code. Yeah, analysis 884. Use the coupon code to cut the price in half. I want you to analyze me, but I'm worried you'd roast me on YouTube. Oh my gosh, I don't I don't post my analysis videos on YouTube. They're completely private. Nothing I do on commission is posted on YouTube. I don't post any of my commissioned things on YouTube. If you see me analyzing, like recently I've been analyzing a lot of Tennis Tunes videos. He's just a guy down in Florida, I think, who allows me to use his videos and not like copyright me and get me in trouble. So he lets me use his videos. And so as a thank you, I just make him he's in Orlando. Okay, cool, Rick. And I just make videos for him. He seems like a really cool dude. Brett is his name. And he's so nice and he's very likable. I don't know. He seems like a cool dude. So hopefully I can help him, his channel. Oh, Rick, do you know him? Do you know him, Rick? Yeah, he seems like such a nice guy. And he's very open to me, like showing him, like was that this morning? I don't know. All the videos run together. But I may have just made a video of him. No, this was yesterday. I posted a video of 2 ways he could have done things differently in his point. And it's not like he messaged me privately or sent me an email being like, hey, don't do that. He was like, yeah, this is awesome. Show me how I can improve. So it's really cool. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep. Cool. Thanks, Rick. Thanks. What other questions do we have here? What other questions? Where Rafa had and plus 10 points. Well, I can tell you my favorite player of all time is Sampras. So I love Federer of the big 3. Federer is my favorite. then a close second Nadal, and then way back is I need a tennis channel to get free analysis. I love it. I love it. No, actually, yes, you do. Ryan, is there any pro? I'm a big stickler on grammar, so it's who, not that. Ryan, is there any pro who is good to copy? Because I know it's probably not a best idea to copy Federer for a beginner. Absolutely. When it comes to just basic technique, Agassi. When it comes to forehands, backhands, serves, Agassi's technique is so flawless. If you're looking for a woman, Serena. Serena's game is just awesome. How do you feel about Sampras and his his stingy tipping? Oh, stingy tipping. I don't know. I don't know. Is he a stingy tipper when he goes out to a restaurant or something? I don't know. I've never heard. That's it. I'm going to throw out my autographed picture of him. I'm going to throw it in the trash because he's a stingy. Falling back while hitting a forehand, like fadeaway jumper, is a way to fix it. No, actually, because oftentimes when you're moving backward, it's actually a good idea. Let me explain. So there is an ooh la la coach who you know who has much better hair than I do. He's much better looking than I am. There is an ooh la la coach who tells you never move back, right? Never be leaning back. And I'm going to tell you completely false. In fact, a lot of times when we lean back, it is our best chance to rotate our hips. So you watch recreational players, they're moving back, and then they've got this ooh la la idea, parfait, and all these like different languages that he speaks. And what ends up happening when you move back and then you try to force yourself to go back forward again is it doesn't allow for hip rotation. So let me just say this, moving backward, you can kind of embrace it and you just pivot on your back foot and you go like this. So you move back, lean back, and then you pivot. I have made so many videos on YouTube. And when I say so many, I only mean like 6. But I have made many videos here on YouTube asking you to embrace the back foot pivot. I've done it as just a talking head in front of the camera. I've done it by showing you Alcaraz. I've done it with Runa. I've done it with Shapovalov. I know for a fact I've done it with Shapovalov, where pros will pivot off their back foot to make sure of rotation, because what's more important than getting your weight going forward is rotating the body. Body rotation is more important than weight going forward. I'm not saying weight forward is bad. What I'm saying is if getting your weight forward into a shot impedes body turn, then don't get your weight going forward. And that's what you see all the time with players. They move backward and then they try to go forward and they can't turn their hips. So just take your back foot and pivot on it, and your front foot becomes your back foot. You can do this on your backhand. You can do this on the forehand, and you can hit incredible shots this way. All right. By the way, I've tried your hat fixer serve, but it was too small. I think I need to make a custom birthday hat. Yeah. I hope the string doesn't break. The string already broke, and I had to redo this. So let's see. Oh, Igor. I love what you just said. Oh my gosh. First off, Igor, if you're telling me that you're struggling with late leg drive on the serve, I know you are a follower of 2-Minute Tennis, because nobody, and I mean nobody, calls it late leg drive. They call it early racket drop. Even though you could argue it's the same thing, it is absolutely not. You're struggling with late leg drive. Yeah, so what are we talking about with late leg drive? Late leg drive is when your racket goes down, you then go up, right? So what we want is to drive our legs up before we hit the birthday hat. So we want to drive our legs up on the serve just before we hit the birthday hat. We don't want to hit the birthday hat and have our racket upside down and then drive the legs up. There's no benefit to the leg drive if your racket's already dropped. What people normally do, and there are coaches who say, oh, you can't let the early racket drop occur. The problem is the toss is too high. So what ends up happening is because your toss is too high, you have to wait to drive your legs up until the ball drops. And while you're waiting, the racket has time to drop. So instead of calling it an early racket drop, it's actually a late leg drive. And the fix to that, Igor, is a lower toss. So Igor, let me ask you, have you practiced tossing much lower? Because if you reduce the time you have, you will absolutely drive your legs up earlier. Address right-handed player returning lefty slice serves. Yeah, you got to stand way out wide, much farther than you're used to. So if you're on the deuce side, by the way, is my shirt backward? Okay, it's supposed to say Ocean City. Are you reading it the right way? I have to know which way the camera is flipped or not flipped. Does this say Ocean City or is it reversed? Is it norm? It's not backward. So it's good? It's not backward? Look at that. Usually they must have fixed it or something. They must have fixed it. Yeah. It's normal. Thank you so much, everybody. Now I actually know that. See, if it was reversed, I'm much better looking. I was hoping it would be reversed because I look like Brad Pitt when they reverse my face. But unfortunately, so you're playing a lefty, right? So here's the lefty and you're dealing with a slice. Then you've got to stand here, right? And if they're on the ad side, then you've got to stand here. Stand 5 feet, 6 feet farther over than you normally do. And then the ball will come right to you. And it obviously takes practice. I wish there was a way to just make it easy to practice it. Like you almost have to find a left-handed coach who can hit that type of serve. Sure, they can hit a pancake serve where you use like a semi-Western grip and you hit across the face the other direction and the ball has a lefty spin. But really, that's not the best way to practice it. You need a lefty who's going to be able to serve. So find a left-handed coach or a left-handed friend, stand way over than you compared to where you normally stand, and it just takes rep. The tip from Solzhenitsyn helped me a bit with the late leg drive on purpose to do the leg drive early. True, but leg drive early only happens with a lower toss. Otherwise, you're driving your legs up and there's no ball to hit because it hasn't dropped yet. So that's why I'm saying you got to toss lower. Yeah, Solzhenitsyn is always talking about the leg drive timing. Thanks for everyone telling me about my shirt looking normal. What other questions do you guys have in gals? What other question do you all have? By the way, did you see? Oh, we got 35 people here and only 21 likes. Oh, that hurts my heart. That hurts my heart. If you go into the description right now, if you want me to analyze your game, it's normally you're like a serve or your forehand or your backhand. Let's say you're really struggling with your kick serve. You're like, Ryan, I need you to analyze it and teach me everything I got to do. Compare me to the pros side by side. Show me what to do. That's normally $100. I just made a coupon code. It cuts it in half, but I limited it to 5 people. There isn't a like button normally normally on YouTube. I don't know. I see there are 28 people who have hit the like button. Is kick serve the most preferred second serve? No, I think the kick serve is completely overrated. Here I am telling you to get an analysis with me, and I'm actually spilling the beans. And so when it comes to the second serve, slice serve is the preferred one. In order to hit a kick serve that makes it difficult for the opponent, you have to be able to hit it incredibly well. You need an A+ kick serve for it to be difficult for the opponent. You need like a B- slice serve to have it be difficult for the opponent. And it's going to be easier to learn, right? So, shorter learning curve. And you're going to get the ball in more often. You can hit the ball faster. It's going to curve. Somebody was just talking about how to deal with a lefty slice serve, right? It's difficult. So if you're a lefty, why are you learning a kick serve? You're negating your leftiness. So just hit a slice serve. Make it really difficult for the opponent. 23 now. Thanks so much. How do I attack those high chipped returns that are returned 3/4 depth? Do I take the ball out of the air? Well, if it's chipped, then you don't need to take it out of the air because when it hits the ground, it's going to die and it's going to check up like a golf ball onto a green. It's going to sit there, right? So when the ball bounces, it's just going to sit there. So taking it out of the air, there's not much benefit of taking the ball out of the air if the ball's got backspin. So the ball's got backspin, you come in, One of the reasons why players really struggle with high balls is they stand too close to the ball. For instance, did you know that you have to stand farther away from the ball when you play the ball at head level than you do when you play the ball at thigh level? How many of you knew that? How many of you know that when you play a higher ball, you have to stand farther away from it? The reason is because your hand draws a circumference. Your arm is a radius. So as your hand goes higher, your hand gets farther away from you. This is why everyone feels jammed when they deal with a high ball, because they stand the same distance away from the ball as they do when it's low. I mean, just think about the face of a clock. The 3 isn't just higher than the 5 on a clock, right? The 3 is also to the right. And that's because it has to accommodate for the hands on the clock, right? So when you are dealing with a high, weak ball, especially if it's chipped and the ball's going to have backspin, the ball's just going to sit there, you've got to get farther away from the ball so that you're not jammed. That is a super valuable tip, by the way. Is there an option for match analysis to narrow down what shots? Of course. So I do match analysis with live Zoom lessons. And you can do it, by the way. You can use that coupon code that's in the description right now. You just have to go more into like the into like my website area to find the Zoom lessons. But I do live Zoom lessons for match analysis. What I do, it's $150, but if you use the coupon code that's in the description, it'll drop down to 75 because it's a 50% off coupon code. So it doesn't just have to be for stroke analysis. But if you want me to analyze your match, it's very simple. If you use Swing Vision, send me the Swing Vision link. If you're just going to record it on your phone, upload it to YouTube, make it an unlisted video if you don't want anyone to see it, and then just send me the link, and I'll sit down and analyze it for you. Point by point, I take screen recordings of all the points I want to show you. If there are 20 points, I put them all into a little video that's like 3 minutes long. Didn't notice that I hit farther on the high balls. Are you based in Ocean City? No, I'm about an hour north of Philadelphia. So we go to Ocean City, New Jersey every summer as a family for a week. But the match analysis is really cool because you and I will meet live on Zoom. I'll share my screen and we'll go point by point. Thanks so much. Oh, the Hendy is here. Yes, the Hendy is here. Awesome. And the match analysis, and in fact, the Hendy here, if you know, it depends on who that is, but if that's Curtis, make sure, by the way, you subscribe to the Hendy channel down in Atlanta, Georgia. But the match analysis is awesome. We go step by step through the points that you're playing. If you're struggling against certain opponents, you know, send me a match of you playing that person, and I'll show you how to beat them. Somebody just asked me something about tennis fundamentals. What do you believe to be foundational tennis skills? I love it. Tone. Man, let's do it. All right, foundational tennis skills. Number 1, have an amazing ready position, elbows out away from your body. Have an amazing ready position and a split step. If you are not split stepping, you are simply not playing your best tennis. Number 2, you need to have interrelationship between the strokes. So check this out. The way I turn for a volley is the way I turn for a slice forehand, is the way I turn for a topspin ground stroke, right? So when you turn, you want to turn in a way that allows you to block the ball, or you can keep turning if you have time and use more of a topspin swing. A key piece of technique that I typically do not see is a closed racket face. Let's say I teach 200 things, right? Let's say there are 200 things that I teach, from strategy to footwork. I'm just saying some number out of the blue. It's more than that, but let's say it's 200. 200 things I teach. If I had to narrow it down to like my top 5, you know what would absolutely be on that list? A closed racket face. If you are not closing your racket face prior to hitting the ball, I'm trying to stand where the comments aren't going to be in your way of seeing, but the racket face being closed like this, you're going to swing up the back of the ball from a closed racket face. So the racket's up, you drop and close the face, and then you swing up the back of the ball. So you've got to have a closed racket face. And of course, you've got to hit the birthday hat. Let me show you. Somebody just commented on my YouTube channel. Wait, I thought you said the returner's outside ground side, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know what they're going to say. Somebody arguing with me from their mom's basement. All right, so here is. No, I'm sure they have a legitimate question, which I'll answer appropriately. Okay, let me give you all a great drill that is going to get rid of your waiter's tray. If you're someone who tends to hit too flat and you're trying to learn a slice serve, or you go into the waiter's tray, check this out. I'm going to kneel so that I can do this. I want you to learn to hit the wrong side of the racket with the ball. So you can do this in your house, just like I am. I want you to knock off the birthday hat and then hit the wrong side of the racket against the ball. The reason is because, like, for instance, look at Felix Auger-Aliassime. When he goes up to the ball, he doesn't have his strings facing up. He has his strings facing down. And then as he goes up to the ball, it rotates and then he makes contact. So if you hit with the wrong side of the racket, your serve is actually 95% correct. All you've got to learn is that 5% at the end of pronating as you hit the ball. And you can see how much faster I hit that ball. It's a huge accelerant as you make this move, and the racket passes slightly to the inside of your hand. Don't go over your hand when you serve. The racket should pass to the inside to create tension and speed. We want to make that move, but that only happens if you hit the wrong side of the racket. So get your birthday hat, put your birthday hat on your head. I hope the string doesn't break. Wear it like a unicorn horn, right? Like, don't put the birthday hat back here, because then when you look up, there's no hat to hit. You got to wear it like a unicorn horn. So when you look up, now it goes straight up in the air. And you want to learn to hit the birthday hat with your strings pointing down, then hit the wrong side of the racket. So hit the birthday hat, hit the wrong side of the racket. What you're going to feel and develop is this feeling of supinated rather than pronating too early. You're going to be supinated, which then allows you to hit the back of the racket. But then what ends up happening is you turn at the end and then you get a ton of pace against the ball. That's how you get rid of a waiter's tray. Look at any pick of Federer in the trophy position, definitely not a waiter's. So Federer does not have a waiter's tray. What Federer does is with Sampras, the same thing, is he has a big flexible shoulder where the strings are facing up, but watch when they come around, Federer's got his strings facing down. A waiter's tray isn't a waiter's tray if the racket is open like Shapovalov or like Sampras or like Federer, and then when it comes around, if the racket's closed, then it's no longer a waiter's tray. Okay, let's see. What do you think? Hit a tennis ball in a way that it spins the opposite direction immediately after the hit. I don't know what that means, Red Sky. I don't know what you mean by hit a tennis ball so that in a way that it spins in the opposite direction immediately after. You mean after the bounce? It's not something that you can duplicate or is reliable, to be honest. If it was, then people would be doing it on the Pro Tour. Like backspin. Yeah. Those are shots that don't beat higher. If you hit that ball and it beats the opponent, you're playing someone who's worse than you. It'll never beat someone who's better than you. How would you suggest helping a player on improving their analysis of their environment, ball flight, opponent's position, shot quality? It's tone. It all comes down to match analysis. If you want to be able to, in real time, be able to take info in, you have to be able to do it off court. Let me just tell you this. If the only time you're learning tennis is on a tennis court, then you're simply not learning as much as you can. The tennis court is a great place to practice. It's the best place to practice, but it's certainly not the best place to learn. Off court is the best place to learn. On court is the best place to practice. When you're on court and you're learning, you're trying to take info in, and it's a very slow, arduous process of learning. When you are off court, you can take so much more information in, and then all the info has context, right? Think about when we watch a movie or when we watch a show. Think about all we take in. But when we take a lesson, if the coach, have you ever taken a tennis lesson and the coach gave you way too much to think about? And you're thinking about, okay, I got a split step. Oh, I got to change my grip. Oh, he said, get my racket back early. Oh, I'm too close to the ball. Oh, I should alter, sometimes topspin, sometimes slice. Oh, I got to keep my head still. Oh, he says I'm not using my legs enough. And you got like 19 things in your head. That's because you're trying to perform while learning. It's not going to work. You want to learn off court everything that you need to practice and then take one or two of those to the court. And then the practice should be free. You shouldn't be paying for practice. You should be paying for info. The problem is when you go and take a lesson on court, and I'm guilty of this too in the past when I would teach on court, which I don't do anymore. Well, I rarely do. I teach like maybe 4 or 5 lessons a year on court. You teach somebody something and then they need to practice it for 20 minutes. So what are you going to do? Just feed balls and be quiet for 20 minutes? Students don't like that. They want info. And they're like, oh, tell me, you got to tell me more stuff. You got to tell me more stuff. And it's like, well, you haven't perfected the first thing. So why am I teaching you more stuff? What you really want to do is learn on Zoom with a stroke analysis, whatever it is. You want to learn what to do, have it all recorded so you can watch it again and again. And now you have all of these things. You have 10 things you need to work on. And then, which you learned for a fraction of the price of on-court lessons, then you take 1 or 2 of those things onto the court and you just practice them without having to learn. You're just practicing and executing. Let's see what we got here. One more thing I'm struggling with, dead hand without the racket. No idea how to properly tuck that in. Always looks weird. Dead hand. I don't know what you're saying. Dead hand without the racket. No idea how to properly tuck that in. Always look. Oh, what shot are you talking about, Igor? You talking about a forehand or a serve? That would be the only 2 strokes that you would want to, that people would talk about tucking it. On the forehand. Yeah, so I don't want you to tuck it in. I think it's overrated to talk about tucking in on the forehand. And I know some pros do it, but they're swinging so fast. I would rather you do this. Here's what I want you to do. There are 3 things I want you to do on your forehand. Turn with both hands, wave to the opponent at contact, and then either catch or just miss the catch. Turn with both hands, wave to the opponent, because when you hit the ball, there are much more important things than tucking on the forehand. So let's talk about this. When you take the racket back on the forehand, the take back is done with the non-hitting hand. I think you called it the dead hand. But the non-hitting hand is going to be on the throat of the racket. That's actually what's taking the racket back. So you turn and you practice taking the racket back with your non-hitting hand. But here's the real key to using the non-hitting hand properly on the forehand. There's a very specific relationship between the racket and the non-hitting hand. As the racket goes down, the non-hitting hand goes forward. So watch, racket down, non-hitting hand forward. So it looks like this. See that relationship? Non-hitting hand forward, racket down. You take the racket back with your non-hitting hand. You want your hand, elbow, shoulder all relatively the same height. You can see that hand, elbow, shoulder all relatively the same height. And then as the racket drops, you move the non-hitting hand forward. And when you hit the ball, it looks like you're waving to the opponent. I've made countless videos on this on YouTube, is making this move. And you should look like you're waving. I'm a big fan of catching the racket, but you can also bypass the hand. But as long as your hand is here, that's good. I don't want you to worry about tucking it in. You have shown Djokovic doing this. Yep. Yeah, I think Djokovic, I know I mentioned, who should you copy when it comes to technique. I talked about Agassi. I talked about Serena. Djokovic is absolutely somebody who I think who we should copy. All right, let's go. I'm going to get some questions from other people. Will the Eagles win tonight? Hey, Raj, what's up? Raj, I was talking about how I give like 4 or 5 lessons a year. You're like one of the people. So you'll see here, okay, easy one. Will the Eagles win? Raj lives like right around the corner from me. Can you talk about the transition someone makes from learning something versus when it becomes learned? Other than you have to practice it so much more than you think, right? So the old saying, don't practice it until you get it right, practice it until you can't get it wrong. I think what ends up happening is players, they learn something, and then they practice it, and they go, oh, I can do it now. And then they want to learn the next thing. And it takes mastery of that idea, right? You have to, like, for instance, Raj here, such a nice guy. And so Raj, I had a lesson with him a couple months ago, right around the corner from me where I live here, about an hour north of PA, or an hour north of Philadelphia. And he said he was struggling with the split step. And I said, how about you just say hop every time I hit the ball? Just say hop every time I hit the ball. He would come to the net. He did an amazing job. Every time I hit the ball, just hop, 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 right? And he just kept doing it. And that was a way to learn the timing of the split step. And it was incredible, his ability to add that. He should do that for a year, right? What happens is, like, we do it and then we stop doing it and then we regress. Don't practice something until you get it right. You have to keep practicing it until you can't get it wrong. Like, you just have to go past the point of doing it, because long after you do it, you master it. But people don't practice it long enough after they can do it, so it ends up they never learn it, right? They heard it and they know about it. Like, people tell me all the time, they're like, oh, I already know that. I'm like, well, but you're not doing it. So I know you're knowing about it, but let this be then a reminder that you need to do it. What's the correct ready position, neutrally speaking? If we watch a player straight from the front side, should we have the racket vertical, or should we see the face of the racket? Are you talking about a volley, like a return of serve? So when it comes to a volley, the ready position that I teach, and by the way, guys, I got to go pick up my kids at school in about 5 minutes. Really quickly here, I got 28 of you here. Oh, look at that. We got more likes than people here. So I always like when that happens. So please, if you would like me to analyze you in my socks, Rick, if you would like me to analyze you, put you side by side with the pros. Let's say you want a better serve, you want a better forehand, you want a better backhand. Go in the description of this video right now. Click the link, but use the coupon code that I made, used 5 times. And if you buy a $100 analysis, which is just a stroke, right? Like one stroke, it'll be $50. If you want me to analyze you like a match analysis, that's a Zoom private lesson. That's where we meet live on Zoom, but I can answer your questions. I see you, you see me. It's really awesome. The whole thing's recorded. It's great. That goes from 150 down to 75. So if you want me to analyze you, use the coupon code. So the ready position, if you're at the net, I want you to have this ready position. I want your elbows out away from you and the racket straight up and down. I know some people recommend this type of ready position so they can handle backhands, but realize it's going to make you late on the forehand. So if your racket's here, you'll be fine for the backhand, you'll be fine for the body, and you'll be really late on the forehand. So if you see someone with a ready position like this, blast the ball to their forehand and they will be late. I'm a big fan of just having the racket right in the center. Like, you could take a coin and balance it on the edge. You also want to get your elbows in front of your shoulder, your elbow in front of your shoulder. So you should be like this. So don't let your racket be close. Get your racket away from you. It's almost like your racket smells and you don't want to smell it. When it comes to your ready position, like when I'm returning serve, I'm like this. Right? I'm in my forehand grip and I can always change the grip for my backhand. So I always have my racket in the center, but my racket is slightly closed because I have a semi-Western grip. Right, I've got time. Oh, look at that. We got more likes. That's great. Let's see what we got here. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay. Yeah, I've seen that video. Oh, Richard just bought 3 Zoom private lessons with me. Boom! Awesome. All right, let's go here. Let's see. What's up, Igor? I am a small business, guys. And when I say small, I mean one person. So whenever I make a sale, I always look at that. Look at that. Richard, congratulations. Richard just bought 3 Zoom lessons with me. So he didn't get the stroke analysis. He got the Zoom lessons. Awesome job. Thank you so much. So instead of paying $150 each, he paid $75. So the great thing is is now I can meet live on Zoom with him. He's going to send me videos of his matches. He's going to send videos of his forehand, his backhand, his serve. So here's what we can do. In his first lesson, we're going to analyze his forehand and his his serve and his forehand. In the second lesson, we're going to analyze his backhand and the before and after of his forehand and his backhand. And then in the third lesson, we're going to look at his match play, and I'm going to analyze his strokes, his footwork, how he plays singles, doubles. It's going to be awesome. I already have 3 stroke analysis. Want to do a Zoom first so I can figure out what I want the stroke analysis on. Amazing job, Rick. Thank you so much. It just popped up on my phone for my website. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, guys, I have to run. Look, if you want to get an analysis with me or you want to take a stroke analysis with me, do it right now. The coupon code can be used 4 more times. So Rick just got it for half price. So congratulations on that. That's absolutely awesome. It can be used 4 times if you want me to analyze you. You can just go to 2MinuteTennis.net because once I turn this off, actually, I'll post this, so that'll be good. I'll post this video. I want to get a cheesesteak and an in-person lesson, to be honest. Yeah, we'll have to do that. Rick, where are you, by the way? Where are you? I just had a student from Toronto come down, and we did a 2-day thing, 4 hours each day. It was awesome. So we came down for 8 hours. You're in Orlando? Okay, cool. I don't do it often because, first off, I don't have an indoor facility. So if it rains, we're screwed. So I'll choose. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I teach a guy down there, Joey Massot. I don't know, Massot. Joey, great guy down there, and I teach him often with stroke analysis and Zoom lessons. He's one of the members of my website. So I teach many players in that area. So thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, you know him. Cool. Yeah, you know everybody, Rick. Jeez. That's amazing. That's so cool. All right, guys. Any questions, definitely hit me up. You can send me an email, ryan@2minutetennis.net, and I would love the opportunity to coach you. So thank you so much, and you got this. Wait, how do I get off this? Oh, no. Oh, no. Now I figured it out.